This will be the video for the Vise Jaw. So we'll start with a new file in NX. This will be a model. We are using inches. Just going to name this the Vise Jaw and make sure that we're saving it to the desktop. And we'll say OK. We'll start with a sketch. I'm going to sketch on the right plane. And we're going to start with a sketch of this side, so this right side. And then when we extrude this, we'll extrude this a distance of 6 inches. So we're going to draw this shape here, and then add some constraints and add our dimensions. So I'll use the profile tool for this. And I'll start at my origin. Again, I want to make sure that I pick up the sketch origin. And I'll just draw this shape. Now I need to make a corner here, so I'm going to use the method that we've talked about before, where I'm going to go beyond the intersection point. So the line should end here and then drop down vertically back to the origin. But what I'll do is I'll go beyond that. Then I'll hit escape so that I don't make another line. From that line, I'll instead come down to my sketch origin and I'll start a new line. I'll go straight up. And now I'm done with the profile tool. So I will exit out of the profile tool. And now I have, here's where I want the corner to be. So I have this line that goes beyond it and this line that goes beyond it. I can either use trim or corner. I'll use corner here. Corner, I select the 2 lines that I want to create my corner. And that's going to be this line and this line. And NX chops off the excess material and creates a corner for us. So I can close out of that. Now, before we start adding dimensions, I'm going to go ahead and constrain this thing. One thing that we're going to want to make sure that we do is this top line here and this top line here need to be on the same level. They need to be on the same plane, same axis. And so they need to be either horizontal or collinear. Let's do collinear. So what collinear is going to do is going to take this line and this line, essentially place them on the same axis. So the lines will be able to move up and down, but they'll be level with each other. So if I go to make collinear, and we're going to want to make sure that we have our persistent relations turned on here. So if our last make constraint is make midpoint aligned, we do not have our persistent relations turned on. We're going to want to make sure that we do. So I'll say create persistent relations. I'll go to my make collinear, and I want to select this top line and this top line, and I'll say OK. So now you'll see that they're on the same axis. The other thing that I want to do is I want to align the midpoint of this line to the midpoint of this line. I want them to be vertically aligned so that everything is symmetrical. So I can do a make vertical. I'll pick up the midpoint of that line and the midpoint of this line. And I'll say OK. So now this whole thing is nice and symmetrical. So I can move this around and everything moves as it should. Now let's add some of our dimensions. So this is 1 inch wide, 2 inches tall, and then we have a 1/4 inch for the recessed area here. So 1 inches, 2 inches, 5. Our sketch is fully defined, so we'll go ahead and say finish. And we're going to extrude this a distance of 6 inches. So our start distance is 0, our end distance is going to be 6 inches. 6 inches, so that's our extrude distance. Now our holes here, we have a couple of counterbore holes. We have one here, one here. They are 3.5 inches apart, symmetrical on the face. 1 inch is from the bottom of the jaw. And it looks like we are using 5/16 socket head cap screws. So we'll go to our hole tool. So in that hole tool, we're going to want to select counterbore. We're going to select screw clearance because we're going to go ahead and just say that we're using a 5/16 screw. ANSI inch, yes. Socket head cap screw, yes. Screw size, we're going to select a 5/16. The fit is normal. You can double check the hole diameter and counterbore diameter, but it's going to align with what we have here. So when I go to place my points, we're going to go to, so the position, we will go to sketch section. And we're just going to place our points on the face of the jaw, this face here. And I'll say OK. And we're not going to just place down 2 points here. What I'm going to actually do is draw a line. So I use my line tool, draw a line. And I'm going to use this to locate the hole locations. So I'll place my line. I'm going to dimension this 3.5 inches. If you remember, that is the spacing between the centers of the holes. I want to align this so that it's centered on the face vertically, or I guess horizontally, by using a vertical alignment. So I'll say make vertical. I'm going to make vertical. I'll pick up this center point, or this midpoint of the line. I'll pick up that midpoint. And I want to pick up the midpoint of this line here, but I don't have access to it because it's not in this sketch. So I need to go to my scope, and I need to change this to within work part only. And now I can pick up that midpoint. And I'll say OK. So now this line can move up and down, but it can't move left and right because it's aligned with the midpoints. So this is centered on the face. It can still move up and down, but it can't move left and right. We're also told that the hole locations, the center of the holes, are 1 inch from the bottom of the jaw. So we can add in that dimension here. So we'll say 1 inch. And so sketch is fully defined, which means that these points here, so the start and end point of this line is going to be the center of our holes. But we're not drawing a line here. We're only using this line to locate these points. So this is actually reference geometry. So I'm going to convert it to reference. So I'm going to left click on the line, and I'll say convert to reference. So now when we say finish, this line is going to completely disappear. But we need to do something before we do that. Before we finish the sketch, we need to add a couple of points. We need to actually come up here to point and add a point to the start point and the end point of the line. So these 2 points are going to be where our holes are actually located. Now I can say finish. There's our counterbore holes. We do want to make sure that our limit is a through body. So if yours says value, so this would be incorrect. We want to change the depth limit to a through body. And I'll say OK. There's our counterbore holes, 5/16. Make sure that you save this before you submit it to the Dropbox.